Hey internet, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Jongravesshow. And let me go ahead and get these out of the way because this shit has really been bothering me for a good while now. And for those of you out there who don't necessarily know, let's start talking about RWBY. In this case, Volume 1, Volume 2, and I'll move on from there and start talking about the rest of the shit. But yeah, Volume 1, Introduction, talking about the characters, bringing everybody in, and the whole little training half of what's going on. To pretty much sum up the whole first half of RWBY, or at least the first volume, the entirety of that is that pretty much you are just introduced to every character who is either silly, quirky, or pretty much like very cartoonish upon how they all pretty much interact. But pretty much summing up the story of the first volume of RWBY, it is this girl named Ruby. She stopped the bank robbery. Then she gets recruited into this badass school, of course, and it's a school in which that her older sister goes to, because she skipped two grades to get to this school. And when she does, pretty much she meets people. They have the little quirks and whatnot, because they have to take an airship to get there. And then once they take their airship to get there, like they are instantaneously like thrown up on teams, and pretty much like and are thrust into the whole training sequence of like, okay, do you personally have what it takes to pretty much like make it as a team, or at least make it like as a monster hunter in this type of world. And as it stands, yes, all four, or at least all 8 of the main characters who that we do see, they all have their very interesting introductions, their own very quirky and very like intuitive backgrounds and powers and stuff like that. And they do a wonderful job of pretty much making every character sort of come off just really memorable, even if some are better fighters than others, and some pretty much like focus way more upon planning than they do anything else. So first off, I do have to say that for the first volume, the battles, they are actually really nice. The animation is good. At first, it was a bit the story itself sort of came off as sort of like, well, now you are giving me too little information and I want more, you know. I mean, like, when you first watch it, you do want the episodes to be longer, because some of them they feel like that they're over too quickly, and it can sort of become a problem. But other than that, though, it's like the series itself, or at least for the first thing of RWBY, the team of RWBY, Blake, RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Okay, looking at those 4, yeah, I can break down their characters. Ruby's actually a pretty good leader, even though she's really young and, you know, stuff like that. Weiss, she's really demanding, and she's a bit of a bigot, and or at least like, you know, her bigotry does come out pretty heavy like around the second volume, but you know, it's like she is stuck in her ways. Blake is very down to earth, but at the same time she's very secretive, and she's really tends to run away a lot. Whereas Yang is a lot like her sister, but she sort of has that mature streak to her, only because she is the older sister, because if anything, they both could easily come off becoming the exact same character, except for Yang has way more like deep-rooted issues in terms of like some inner turmoil and shit, which is sort of portrayed a little bit more to sort of differentiate her from her sister, not to mention how she fights and stuff like that. Then cutting over to the other team, then pretty much you have Team Juniper, which I believe is like the only other team which really needs to be mentioned, because they do get as much screen time as like our main characters. So pretty much breaking them down really, really quickly, you do have Jean, a guy who really doesn't have any combat experience, who doesn't Well, actually, I do find him to be the most impressive character of all, at least to be around all these other people who are around him, because there is a lot of stuff like wrapped around him, and he does seem to have a lot of potential to actually grow into a really interesting character. Well, more interesting than what he already is, because again, he is the leader, but yet he is the one person over there who who pretty much doesn't seem to have a lot of fighting experience, but like he can hold his own, if give or take. Then of course you have Nora, who is pretty much, she's just Harley Quinn. She's a very positive Harley Quinn type character. If anything, I would say that her and Yang are virtually like, they both have a lot of similarities in terms of their personality, except for Nora's way more. No, Nora is the definition of a free spirit, but then you have Pyrrha, who is the kind prodigy who really does seem to take a fondness to John, but it's like, but he's a bit stubborn, so And finally, you have Ren, the quiet, stoic character who pretty much plays most of his comedic actions. He plays most of his comedy, not necessarily through like whatever he says, but mostly through like his body actions, because really, like, there's something about all of them that actually makes them a wonderful group to sort of watch and see, even though everything about them is very, very, very cartoony. But really looking at it though, the first season of RWBY, it is a really good introduction to, yes, I know everybody that they already know this already, but hey, the series is wonderful, everybody loves it, and season 3 is back if you've missed it already. But yeah, please check it out. I'll catch you next time. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.